I would put, again, on the top of your page, 3.1 quiz review. That way, when you go back today, you know what your notes go with, right? So I'll put that here for you. We are going to do, let me move this around really quick. All right. I want to go through a couple different long division problems and make sure we're kind of comfortable on all of them. So let's start with something kind of easy and then we'll work our way up, okay? So let's start with a really, really clean number of 24 divided by 3. What do you know about this one before you go through any sort of long division? When you look at this one, what do you know right off the bat? And you guys can just please just unmute yourselves and shout out. Faith, what do you notice?
So what I notice is that it's not really as much of a family fact that we usually do, and it's a 2-digit that we're dividing by.
Okay. What do you know about 3?
Well,
you know what, let me do this. I have a new strategy I was thinking about that has worked super well in the past. So let me introduce you guys. If you're in my class last year, we did some of this. Let's talk about ratio tables. Ratio tables are going to be your saving grace when you don't have a math fact memorized or you're not quite sure. So the way a ratio table works is it's set up like, maybe you've heard of an input-output table. Same idea. So if I'm looking at this and I'm like, 3 can't go into 2. 3, can it go into 24? If I'm sitting there going, you know what, I'm not really sure, I can use a super cool thing called a ratio table. Basically, it's a way to organize my skip counting or to turn it into repeated addition. So let me show you how this works. Ratio tables are really easy to set up in your lined notebooks because you can use the lines of your notebook if you want. Obviously, mine's on just a blank paper, but it's really easy if you set it up with the lines of your notebook. So if I was to do this, I would say, okay, I know 1 times 3 is 3. And then 2 times 3 is 6. So all I'm doing is adding another group of 3, right? I know that repeated addition is the same as multiplication. I know that 3 times 3 is 9. Again, I'm adding another group of 3. 4 times 3 is, who can help me out?
12.
12, good. 5 times 3 is 15. And if anywhere in this process you get stuck, the ratio table is really helpful because it keeps your stuff organized. It shows you all of your multiples of 3. And it's helpful because if you just want to do addition, you can. I could say plus 3, 6 times 3 is 18. I know that because 15 plus 3 is 18. 7 times 3 is 21. Again, if you need to use addition, the ratio table is very, very helpful for that. Oh, well, 8 times 3, if I add 3 more, I now have 24. And then the cool thing about the ratio table is when you look at this, you can say to yourself, okay, I know 8 groups of 3 because I was adding it in my table, landed me on 24. So I know that 8 times 3 is 24. So these ratio tables, you guys, are helpful because you can also use them if you're completely, let's see here, you're stuck in a higher number. So hopefully you have this written down, and then I want to show you something really cool you can do with this. So let's say Faith was like, how many times does 3 go into 24? You can also start somewhere that you already know. You don't always have to start at 1. So what if Faith was like, I'm going to erase this really quick, hoping you guys have this. So maybe Faith is like, okay, so how many times does 3 go into 24? Well, I know for sure that 3 times 5 is 15. So I'm going to shortcut and just count from there instead of counting from 1. So 6 times 3 is 18. 7 times 3 is 21. 8 times 3 is 24. So you can also shortcut it. Like if you know you need 9 groups of something or 10 groups of something, it might take you a really long time to make a ratio table that goes up that high. So start with a fact that you definitely know, and then you can go from there. So that's another way to use a ratio table that's also really helpful. So I think these are great. If you ever get stuck, it's a really good way to organize your thinking. It's a really good way if you just want to use addition. So let's try a different one, and we'll use a ratio table to kind of help us get through it, okay? So I'm going to go up to a 3-digit problem. And there may or may not be a remainder. So I'm going to do 672 divided by 8. So we're going to use our ratio table to help us get through this. And we do know for a lot of us, like 6, 7, 8, 9 multiplication facts are just a little harder, right? So this is a really good way to help you if you're ever feeling stuck with those bigger facts. You guys have gotten really good. You can skip count by 2s, 3s, 5s in your head really easily. Some of these numbers are harder to skip count by, so that is really helpful. So PJ, will you help me out with this one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, PJ, we got to start with dividing, right?
Right.
Daddy, mommy, sister, brother. And I would definitely put that when you guys are doing your quiz, I'd make sure you have that somewhere so you remember. So PJ, can I divide 8 into 6? Or 6 into 8?
No.
No. Okay, so then what do I need to do, PJ?
67. Yeah.
Good. Does 8 go into 67?
No.
Not exactly, right?
No.
Let's pretend, PJ, you don't know your 8 facts, okay? We're just going to we're going to set up a ratio. And we're going to say, okay, I know that I can get close. And maybe PJ looks at this and he's like, okay, but I don't know how to do this, right? So you for just a quick second and bring you back, okay? All right, so let's say PJ is looking at this and he's like, okay, I know 8 goes into 67. It's a big number. I don't know how many times. So PJ could say, okay, I know 1 times 8 is obviously 8. I know 2 times 8 is 16, which is the same as 8 plus 8. If I add another 8, 8 times 3 is 24. Again, if you guys are not sure of your math facts, just add 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 over and over and over again. All right, 8 times 4. PJ, will you unmute yourself really quick and finish this up, please?
8 times 4 equals 32. 5 times
Good.
8, 40. 40. 8 times 6, 48. 7 times 6, 56. 8 times 6, 64.
Ah, beautiful. We can stop there, right, PJ? So luckily, PJ knows his 8s facts. And for PJ, this is a really easy way to see all of his 8s facts, right? But again, if you are stuck, do some addition on the side. Okay, all right, 24 plus 8, 32 plus 8. You can do this over and over again if you're feeling stuck. Add an 8, add an 8, add an 8, add an 8. All right, so PJ, how many times does 8 go into 67?
8 times.
8 times. And now I have to multiply. 8 times 8 is
8 times 8 is 64.
work. Now I need to subtract. So I need to do 67 minus 64. What do I have now?
So that'll be 32.
So we'd subtract that and we'd be left with a 3. Yep. Drop down our 2. Oh, Pete, you notice anything? Look at our ratio table.
32 is in the 8 family.
Oh, guys, the ratio tables are so helpful because it's already on your paper. You're looking at it and you're like, how many things is going to 32? Oh, there's my ratio table, and there's 4. So, and even if it's not exact, maybe it was 30 here, you could still use this with your AC. All right, 32. What am I left with?
0.
0. Thank you, DJ. So, all right. So do you see, you guys, how this ratio table, once this is on your paper, so if you make a ratio table, let's say you're dividing by 8 or you're dividing by 7 or 6, whatever it is, if you make a ratio table for that number, you can use it for all parts of the problem. Because I'm dividing everything by 8. I'm dividing 67 by 8. I'm dividing 32 by 8. Once I have this, I can use this to reference any problem. So it's very, very, very helpful. And again, if you're feeling stuck, add 8, add 8, add 8, add 8. Let's do one more, and I'm going to give you guys a 4-digit one. And as you guys see, we did a 3-digit problem with ease. So this shouldn't be too hard. So let's make it a little bigger for you. 3,624. The 6 looks a little funny. Divided by, let's do 4. So what I want you guys to do before you even start, before anyone does anything, I want all of you to make a quick ratio table with your 4s. So before you even get started, I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to let you finish it up. Again, if you're stuck, count by 4s. Or I can show you guys if you're feeling super, super stuck. There is a really cool way to do this called, I always call it counting the dots. But what you can do if you're feeling really stuck is you can always leave an open circle and then the number of dots for whatever you're counting by. In this case, we're counting by 4s. So I always put my finger, I always have to come back to the open circle. So I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, write it down. 4, back to the open circle. 5, 6, 7, 8, write it down. 8, back to the open circle. 9, 10, 11, 12, write it down. Bring 12 back to my holding spot. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, write it down. 16 back to the holding dot, 17, 18, 19, 20, write it down. 20 back to my holding dot, 21, 22, 23, 24, write it down. So that's one way you guys can, if you're really stuck on your multiples, that is one way to do it. All right, so I'm hoping you guys were able to get your 4s done. So again, if I'm at 24, I would say 24, bring it back to the holding dot. So if anyone is feeling stuck on their multiplication facts, that is one way to do it. All right, so will you unmute yourself and just let me know if you were able to make a ratio table by yourself? Will you just holler?
Me.
I did.
Yes?
Me.
Yeah?
I did.
Very good. Okay, cool. So now that I have my ratio table, dividing things by 4 should be pretty easy, right? Who would like to do this one for us? Someone I haven't heard from yet. Micah or Adrian, Perseus?
I could.
Yes, Adrian, I love that you always want to participate. Cool. All right, Adrian, tell me what I need to do.
So first, we need to make a ratio table, but we already did it.
Yeah.
So, but you can't do 3 into 4, and you can't do 6 into 4.
Okay.
Yeah. So then, but you could do 24 to 4 though.
Well, we need to combine. If we can't do 3 into 4, then we need to take both of these numbers together.
Yeah.
So we can't hop over to 24 until we get these two guys done. So Adrian, cool, because I have my ratio table, very helpful. Does 4 go into 36 evenly?
Yes.
How many times?
9 times.
Yeah, and again, you guys, if you make your ratio table ahead of time, look at that, ready to go. All right, so Adrian, we need to multiply. 9 times 4 is
36.
36. I need to subtract. What is 36 minus 36?
0.
0. Okay. Very, very good. Can 4, I need to bring down my 2. Can 4 go into 2?
No.
No. So remember, if I have to drop a second one, then I need to put a 0 up here. Because I dropped that 2, it goes into that 0 times. Now I have my 4. Now, Adrian, does 4 go into 24?
Yes.
How many times?
6.
Aha, again, if you made your ratio table ahead of time, easy peasy. Adrian, 6 times 4 is?
6 times 4 is 6.
Or just 24, right?
Oh, 24, yeah.
And I have a 0 remainder.
Mm-hmm.
How do you guys feel? You just divided a 4-digit number. Do you feel like the ratio table helped? Anyone? Yes, no, maybe so?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. This is by far and away my favorite strategy to add to long division, because I think it helps you guys see how close you can get. And again, if this was 20, let's just say this was 21, for example, I could look at my ratio table and be like, okay, well, 4 doesn't go into 21 exactly. But if I look at my ratio table, okay, 5 times is 20. That's as close as I can get. So using this ratio table, you can kind of scan for all the different multiples and see how close you can get. So let's do one more, and then I'm going to let you guys go take your quiz because I feel like you're on quite a roll with this. So let's do this. I'm going to make it another 4-digit, okay? Because you guys seem to be doing just fine. We'll do a 6 this time. 6,241. So same thing, you guys. If we're dividing by 6, we are going to set up our ratio table for 6. So we'll give you guys a quick second to do that. And again, if you guys need help using the counting dots, you have 1 open counting dot and 6 closed dots. And then you can pick up where I left off. You could say, okay, 18 is where we left off. Take it to the holding dot, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Write it down. Bring it to the holding dot, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Write it down. Bring 30 back to my holding dot, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Write it down, bring it back over and over and over again. So that's one way if you want to use repeated addition. If you're not sure of your math facts, if you're feeling completely stuck, you always have 1 holding dot, which is like your empty dot, where you take your number and you bring it back. And then the number of closed dots is the same as whatever you're dividing by. So who could finish this? Micah, could you finish up my ratio table for me?
7 times 6 is 42.
Yep.
7 or 6 times 8, 48. 9 times 6, 40 or 54. And then 10 times 6 is 60.
Beautiful. All right, Micah, can I keep you on to do the problem for us?
Yeah.
All right, so my hope at this point is that you guys have your ratio table done. And again, you can use this ratio table to help you solve this. All right, Micah, where do I need to start?
You need to start at the 6 and see if 6 can go into 6.
And can it?
Yes.
How many times?
Once.
1 time. So that's a really easy one to start with, right? And now
Yeah.
1 times 6 is
6.
Yep. So drop it down and subtract. What am I left with?
Nothing.
Nothing. All right, so I need to bring down my next number. Can 6 go into 2, Micah?
No.
Nada. 6 goes into 2 0 times. I put my 0 up here. Because I have to drop 2 numbers, guys, whenever you have to drop 2 numbers, that's when you have to put your 0 up there. Because 6 goes into 2 0 times. Now I have to drop down my 4. Micah, does 6 go into 24?
Yes.
And again, if I have my ratio table already done, look how easy that is. How many times does 6 go into 24, Micah?
4.
Yep. And it is an exact number, right? So 4 times 6 is
24.
4 and a 0. Okay, Micah, now what happens though? Can 6 go into 1?
No.
No. So 6 goes into 1 and there's nothing else left to drop. I'm stuck, this is it. So if ever you get to the end of a problem and something goes into something 0 times, then it goes in 0 times and it becomes a remainder. Because I can't put 6 into 1. It doesn't work. So I would just say 6 goes into 1 0 times. Because there's nothing left to bring down, I'm stuck. And it just becomes a remainder. Okay? So, and thankfully, Micah, look at that. We were able to use our ratio table again to get super close, and it actually was really, really helpful. So, I'm going to leave this up here for a second. You probably want to make sure you have this on your paper. I would make sure you have your daddy, mommy, sister, brother, or divide, multiply, and subtract, bring it on down and bring it on back, however is easier for you to remember. And I want every single person today to try it with a ratio table. I want to see how it goes. We're going to check back in tomorrow. And if you're like, hey, the ratio table was super helpful, beautiful. If you're like, hey, it didn't stick with me, then we'll try something else. And again, if you need your counting dots, you can set those up on your paper as well. So maybe you know most of your 6's facts, but you're kind of stuck on a few of them. This will help. And remember, whatever you left off on, let's say I was on 30, bring it to the holding dot, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, write it down. Take that number, bring it back to the holding dot, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42. So I know some of us are really good, like maybe we know all of our facts 1 through 5 and then we get stuck. Then you can bring this in if you need to, okay? So I'm hoping today, after giving you a lot of strategies, this should become a lot easier. That's my hope.